and thank you for joining us. This is another episode of the Soul Food Initiative. My name is Dr. Fadoua Loudiy. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Strategic Communication and Media at Slippery Rock University. And today, we're going to focus on Morocco, my home country. So we're going to make a special dish. It's called Pastilla or Pastilla, depending on where you are from in Morocco. And the pastilla we're going to be making today is a special one. It's a fish pastilla. So to make the pastilla, this dish, we need fish, any type of fish, ideally fish that's boneless and that has a mild flavor. So for today, because we're in Western Pennsylvania and we don't have access to a variety of types of fish, we're going to be using salmon. You can also use cod or tilapia, any fish that you have available to you. So we're gonna be using salmon, and we're gonna also be making another type of pastilla, which is a dessert pastilla. It's a milk pastilla, and that's gonna be a dish that's made with almonds. So to talk a little bit, to get us started today, I want to share with you a little bit the ingredients that we will be using for this dish. And those because, again, the dish was originally from Morocco, and we're here in Western Pennsylvania in the United States. Some of the ingredients are not readily available, so I typically hybridize the dishes and bring some local flavors to it. So we're going to be using salmon. So I have already cooked some wild salmon here, and it's deboned. There's no skin to it, so it's just not boiled, but just sauteed salmon. No seasonings on it. I also have about 2 pounds of onions. So it's just onions that I cooked in some butter. And they basically melted and reduced because you want them to be very soft. I also have some mushrooms here. So these are just sliced regular white mushrooms you can buy at any store. Typically in Morocco, people use Chinese mushrooms, Chinese black dried mushrooms. I couldn't find those around here, so I'm using regular mushrooms, which is totally fine. We're gonna be using a mix of cilantro that I already chopped and some parsley, already pre-chopped. And I'm gonna be using some garlic, maybe a little pepper, I haven't decided yet. But all of these ingredients go into the most important ingredient of this dish, and that's the filo dough. So the filo dough is this very, very unique type of pastry. It's like a super finicky and super thin dough. What do we call in Morocco? The warqa means sheet of paper. But since we don't have that particular type of dough here available in the US, and I don't know how to make it, so I'm using the filo dough, which works just as fine, just a little finicky as a type of dough. The pastilla, it's interesting because the history of pastilla is very diverse, so to speak. Some people suggest that it came to Morocco with Sephardic Jews who came to Morocco from Spain. And some people say that that's not the case, that the Arabs brought it to Morocco when they came to colonize it. And but what is 100% accurate is that the name of the dish, pastilla or pastilla, is a Spanish word. It is the word for pastry in Spanish, pastilla. So it has definitely some Spanish influence. And So people in most of Morocco, the original pastilla was made with pigeons, and it's still made with pigeons. People, this is besides couscous, which is a dish we cooked, I believe, in the first season of the Soul Food Initiative. Besides couscous, the pastilla is probably the most known dish, Moroccan dish worldwide, and you can probably find some iterations of it on YouTube or Instagram. So what we're going to do is first is put some butter in this dish. I think I'm gonna actually use a spoon for that. Typically use a brush, but we're missing that this morning, so we're gonna use just a spoon to melt the dish. So the purpose of do not melt the dish. No, melted butter on the dish. The purpose is so that the dough does not stick to your pan. When you want to take it out, it comes out easily. So we start with that. We are going to start putting the warqa, and oops, see, it breaks very easily. It's already breaking, but we layer it so many times that it all works out. So we're going to continue layering the pan with the dough. But before I do that, I'm gonna make what's called charmoula. So charmoula is this kind of very thick sauce that we use primarily for fish, but also for chicken. When we use it for chicken, it has different spices, but I'm gonna show you how we make it for the fish. So I have some olive oil here. It's my very special Moroccan olive oil. So we have the olive oil. I'm going to use some already chopped cilantro, a nice dose of cilantro here. So some cilantro. I'm gonna also use some parsley, chopped parsley. I previously chopped these. And it's kind of interesting because every Moroccan household, when you open their freezer, guess what you're gonna find? You're gonna find little baggies of chopped cilantro and little baggies of chopped parsley, because we use it every day in cooking. So people do that on a weekly basis, and they just keep it in the freezer so that it's handy. So I have my cilantro and my parsley mixed here. I'm going to add a few. So this is kind of a mix of paprika and some other spices, cumin and salt. So it's kind of a nice combo that's already pre-mixed. So I'm gonna use some of that. It also has salt, that's why I'm not going to be using salt. I'm going to also add a little bit of soy sauce. So this adds flavor as well as saltiness to the dish. About 1 to 2 tablespoons. The next thing I need to add is lemon. So in Morocco, anytime we eat fish, cook with fish, we have lemon next to it. So I'm going to add a little bit of the lemon juice to this sauce. It just gives it little nice acidity and kick. So we're gonna mix this sauce. So it's typically very thick. Again, this is called charmoula or charmoula, depending on, where you're from. So we're going to start putting the fish. Okay, so next thing I'm gonna add is the onions, the previously reduced onions. All right, we're gonna add the mushrooms. So some people are not big fans of mushrooms, so depending on your preference. So we're gonna add some mushrooms here. So we're now ready to put this pie in the oven, and everything inside the pie, the pastilla, is actually cooked. So we're not gonna wait for the pastilla, the ingredients to cook. We just want the dough to cook and become crispy and golden. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in the oven. I had previously preheated it to 350 and it's ready. So the pastilla is going to stay there for about 15-20 minutes max. We're now going to turn to the sweet side of this episode, which is the milk pastilla. So we're going to make what's called crème anglaise. It's a thick, milky cream that you make with milk and eggs and sugar. And that's kind of the cream that's going to accompany our dough. So we're going to fry. You can either fry the dough, the warqa, or put it in the oven. So it's your preference. I already went ahead and fried some of it. We're going to make the sauce. So we have here some milk that we're going to warm up. And we have here just a mixture of egg yolks and some sugar. Once the milk gets a little warm, we're going to pour it there. So this is a very easy dish to make. You have the warqa, and we need almonds. So I already fried these almond pieces. They're peeled and nicely toasted, actually fried. So we have those. And there's a very, very important ingredient for this dish, and that's rose water. So rose water gives kind of a very unique flavor to the dish. Or you can also use orange blossom water. Both of these types of water are very common and typical in Moroccan cooking. And when I smell this, it takes me back to my grandma. It's very unique. Takes me back to my grandma and my childhood. Because roses are very much used in Morocco. They're used in cooking. Rose water, they're also used in homes, like the potpourri that people have in their homes here. That's an ancient tradition in Morocco, that people dry the roses and have them in their homes. So it's about 6 egg yolks and 3 cups of milk. Any milk will do. So we're gonna stir it well. I'm also going to add some vanilla extract. I think I already have some here. And now I'm going to put it back on the stove in this pan and just watch it very closely. All right. Okay, so we can actually start putting this dessert together. So we put a little bit, it's kind of an artistic or artsy type of dish. You can put the almonds. You can add a little bit of the sauce. Okay. Okay. I think this is good. We're gonna decorate it here. we're gonna put some lemons. Moroccans love to decorate their food. It's important then that the food is appealing and a little bit artsy. Voila. So we're gonna actually cut it now that it's nicely decorated. Voila. So you can see there's fish, there's mushrooms, there's onions, and you have the crust that's very thin, so it's not like very heavy on the dough. So there you have it. So again, this is the fish pastilla, and this is the milk pastilla, the sweet dessert. Thank you all for joining us today. This was another episode of Soul Food Initiative. And please make sure to follow us on YouTube and Instagram. Until next time, bye-bye.